It's no more news that the Labour Party in Lagos State has resolved its leadership crisis. In consolidation of the breakthrough, the national leadership of the party has gone ahead to inaugurate a new interim state executive committee led by Pastor Dayo, Ekong. The event marked an end to the protracted leadership crisis that rocked the state chapter of Labour Party, a development which saw it parading 3 chairpersons in the last 6 months. Now, we are being joined by Pastor Dayo Ekong. I want to say thank you very much for joining us. And one man has been crying foul, or probably let me quote what the ex-chairman of the Labour Party, talking about Mr. Salako, has actually said. He says that the Labour Party governor, the governorship candidate of the Labour Party, I'm talking about Gbadebo Rosvivo, deserved to lose. And he went on to explain that his arrogance and his high-handedness probably brought this loss. Before we talk about you emerging, what do you make of this kind of statement?
Thank you, Aaron. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
It's sad that somebody like Salako, that was a chairman in Labour Party, could talk about Gbadebo Rosvivo, our gubernatorial candidates, this way. Okay. The truth of the matter is that Gbadebo Rosvivo represents what Labour Party ideology is all about. Salako, to me, represents the old system, the old ways of APC-PDP. And there's no doubt that with the values of Labour Party, he does not represent what Labour Party stands for. Therefore, I would say what Salako is saying now is that he's not compatible with the values of Labour Party. It's not compatible in the sense that he wants to be a lord. He wants to wake up and see Gbadebo Rosvivo call him in the morning to say, Godfather, here I come. That is not what Labour Party represents. We've moved past that. We in Labour Party we're about bringing about a new Nigeria where everyone that has the credibility, has the capacity, can come out and say, I'm contesting to bring about a new Nigeria, because there's no doubt about it that Nigeria needs a new leadership, a leadership that is for the people, a leadership that will put the people first, and that is what Labour Party represents. All these stories about ego and so on. If you are so sure of yourself, if he has egos, or you believe that he's egocentric, as he puts it, there are ways of going about things, not run people down. Salako has a mission, and he knows what he came into Labour Party to do.
Are you talking about the fact that people saw him as a mole, being that his wife worked for the APC presidential? Yeah, I mean the APC presidential committee.
Well, Punch of yesterday, I'll just answer you by reading this paragraph. Okay. Second to the last paragraph of the Punch of yesterday. Say, what do you think is responsible for you and your wife supporting different political parties? He said this, that the two of us had always been on the same side, which is Tinubu's side. But I left APC because of the many years I have been there. I didn't gain anything as a member. So it's not about service, it's about what he can gain. But let me finish this. As a member of the party, I was only working, and it is as if they didn't see me. I felt if I went to another party and proved what I could do in terms of capability to run things, perhaps APC would see me. So Labour Party does not represent this. It's not about what we want to gain, but what we want to offer to Nigerians.
Well, is that not the typical modus operandi of politicians in Nigeria?
Yeah,
using one party as a stepping stone for another, or using one scenario as a stepping stone or as a footstool for another thing.
But what Labour Party represents, like I must repeat, you heard Soyan Cole said something now, that if the old order or old style is what they're expecting him to do or play, he will not be part of it. We represent the emergence of proper leaders in this country that will put the people first and will take the interest of the masses and everybody concerned as our main goal.
Okay, now I'll ask some salient questions. I hope time will permit us to actually go through this. Okay, let me first start by saying that what happened to Labour Party in Lagos State? Because going into the polls, we saw Labour Party do so well in the presidential election. In the governorship election, mixed reaction, some would say. Was it because the Labour Party, first of all, congratulations to you emerging, but was it because Labour Party went into that governorship election as a divided house? Because at some point, even still leading up to the governorship election, Professor Ifeanyi was still insisting that his mandate was stolen. And we had different people. We had people like Salakos that were still aggrieved. We had different people coming out and saying that they were chairman. And you look at all this, and probably did it take away from the Labour Party and their ability to fight as one united front going into that governorship elections?
Thank you. It's obvious that we saw Labour Party emerge winner in Lagos State for the first time in 24 years. And
you mean for the presidential election?
For the presidential,
okay.
Excuse me.
Okay.
And what we had during presidential was still what we had during the gubernatorial listing. But what we saw that is so glaring, and I thank God that even Toyin Cole, that is a gubernatorial candidate in APC, said it. The election was a sham. This election was marred by violence, killing, maiming, and a lot of people were disenfranchised. To me, and I said it before, and I'm saying it again, that there was no election in Nigeria because it was a sham. It was leaders killing the people. Election shouldn't be a war on the people. Everybody has a civil right to come and exercise their mandates. And that was what they did, stopping people from exercising their civil responsibility.
Well, just to play the devil's advocate here, despite that, with all the suppression you spoke about, Labour Party still emerged. It was a close call, but Labour Party still emerged winner in the presidential race. When you look at Lagos State, that was a battleground state. Now, probably, let me not ask this question. Did the postponement of the elections, did it kill the momentum of the Labour Party? If the elections were held if the elections were held immediately after, the week after the presidential elections on the 25th, do you think the Labour Party would have done or would have fared better than they did when the elections were held on the 18th of March?
Let me also say this. The truth of the matter is that the people that you mentioned first came out because they had a price tag to them. Go and destroy Labour Party. 2, the election that happened, you saw, was marred with violence, where you have in some polling units 30, 50, 100 thugs. And going out to vote is not meant for you to risk your life and you get maimed or killed. And that is why a lot of people saying this had to go back home, so that they will not risk their lives.
Now we're talking about the gap. Did it in any way take away from the momentum that you had from the presidential election?
Well, yeah, it could be, because I think they were able to actually made extra effort to make sure that people don't come out to vote. Because, let me tell you, I was equally attacked.
Oh.
Just the Friday before the election. And what are we talking about? A Nigeria where people are not free to express themselves or decide to do what they feel is right. Good leadership is what we're talking about. And if you stop people from voicing out their feelings or with their PVC, the Bible says to subvert a man in his cause, the God that we serve does not approve. And that is what they did, to silence people. To silence people.
Okay. Pastor, permit me to also ask this question.
Yes, please.
Because some people felt it would have made the world of difference if Peter Obi had showed up in Lagos State leading up to the governorship election. Some felt an opportunity missed, that if he had probably shown up and canvassed for votes while it looked like Gbadebo was sinking under the weight of ethnicity and everything that was being thrown at him, that probably it would have made a world of difference. Do you think him not showing up probably was the tipping, was the decider for Gbadebo ultimately?
I don't think so. I want to say this and state it clearly, that Gbadebo, as a candidate of Labour Party, has the capability to run for the election. Not only this, he represents the 4th century leader and a young man with vibrant ideas that he has, that if given a chance, Gbadebo would have been able to turn around the fortune of Lagos State, if given the chance. But we know what is in Nigeria right now in terms of political this thing. Gbadebo to Labour Party, we are fully with him because he is credible, he has the capability, and he can deliver Nigeria. And so a lot of people feel that way. I can tell you this, majority of the voters are with Labour Party in this country, because they believe that a new Nigeria is possible. And that is what Labour Party represents, to rescue Nigerians from this sham of a government. So Gbadebo, whether Obi comes, Obi was here, he had addressed us, but whether Obi is here or not, that shouldn't have stopped Gbadebo from emerging winner, if not that people were disenfranchised greatly.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, finally, just quickly, just briefly, Gbadebo put up a very, very valiant fight, I must say.
Yeah.
Moving forward, what are you ensuring, what do you want, what are you doing, and what do you plan to do as a party to ensure that you keep this momentum going? Because this is not the end of elections. We still have elections in 2027. Talk to us about it briefly. Yeah,
well, briefly, let me say this to you, that we would continue to fight until a new Nigeria emerge. And as a result of this, we have put in place restructuring in terms of people not being silenced, people to be able to, because Nigerians right now, a lot of Nigerians, a lot of obedience are still hemorrhaging as a result of the shock of what happened during the 25th and the 18th of March, 25th of February and the 18th of March, which was horrendous. Right. But I tell you something, we're not keeping quiet, we're building, we're going to continue to build, to become the real opposition, where until we see leaders that will do the right thing emerge in Nigeria. And that's it.
Pastor Dayo, Ekong, I'm going to say thank you very much for joining us here on the Rise News.
Can I quickly say something? I want to address the obedient family that don't give up on your ideology. Stay firm, stay strong. This is not the end. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.